The distress signal from the forgotten frontier. The starship Celestial Voyager hummed with quiet anticipation, its deck lights casting a soft blue glow across the advanced navigation systems. Commander Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic star charts that flickered before her. Unlike traditional military vessels, the Voyager was a research and exploration ship designed to push the boundaries of human understanding beyond known space. Incoming transmission, Commander, called out Area Chen, the ship's communications specialist. Her fingers danced across the quantum communication panel, her brow furrowed in concentration. It's unusual. The signal is fragmented, but definitely not from any known human communication protocol. Elena approached the console, her military training blending seamlessly with scientific curiosity. Can you clean it up? Aria's fingers flew across the interface, applying advanced signal reconstruction algorithms. Gradually, a series of distorted images and broken audio began to take shape. What emerged was a desperate plea, fragments of an alien language interspersed with universal distress markers. Dr. Marcus Chimera, the ship's xenolinguistics expert, leaned in. It appears to be from the Outer Rim territories. These coordinates are beyond the standard exploration zones. His augmented reality glasses displayed complex translation algorithms, attempting to make sense of the fragmented message. The bridge fell silent, each crew member understanding the gravity of the moment. Exploration wasn't just about scientific discovery. It was about potential first contact, about extending a hand of help to unknown civilizations. Can we trace the origin? Elena asked, her voice calm but charged with an underlying current of determination. Marcus nodded. Preliminary analysis suggests a small planetary system approximately 3.7 light-years from our current position. The signal suggests a colony under some form of extreme duress. Captain Robert Chin, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. Our mission parameters allow for humanitarian intervention, but we're dealing with an unknown scenario in uncharted space. Elena understood the implicit concerns. Humans had learned the hard way that space was unpredictable, and every first contact carried potential risks. Their ship, while advanced, was not a military vessel. They were scientists, researchers, and explorers, not soldiers. Prepare a preliminary reconnaissance team, she commanded. Full protective gear, minimal intervention protocols. We approach with caution and observe first. The crew moved with precision, years of training evident in their synchronized actions. Specialized environmental suits were prepared, each tailored to protect against potential unknown atmospheric conditions or biological threats. Aria's console suddenly lit up with additional data streams. Commander, I'm detecting multiple distress signals now. It's like a cascading communication network. Something is systematically reaching out across different communication bands. Marcus's translation algorithms began working overtime. Fragments of meaning started to emerge, words that spoke of desperation, of a civilization under siege, of a threat that transcended traditional understanding of conflict. We might be witnessing something unprecedented, Marcus murmured, his academic excitement barely concealed beneath a professional demeanor. A civilization's networked cry for help. Elena recognized the moment for what it was. A potential turning point. Humanity had always been defined by its ability to adapt, to reach out beyond known boundaries, to offer help even in the most uncertain circumstances. Prep the long-range shuttle, she ordered. We're going in. The Celestial Voyager's auxiliary shuttle bay came to life, a sleek reconnaissance vessel being carefully prepared for its critical mission. Every system was checked and double-checked, a testament to human meticulousness. As the shuttle's engines began to warm up, Elena looked around at her crew, a diverse group of professionals united by curiosity, courage, and an unwavering commitment to exploration. Whatever waited in the darkness of space, they would face it together. Little did they know that this mission would challenge everything they understood about human capabilities, about the very nature of survival and cooperation in the vast, unknown universe. The journey into the unknown began, carrying with it the hopes, fears, and extraordinary potential of human exploration. Crossing the void of misunderstandings, the reconnaissance shuttle Horizon Seeker glided through the inky blackness of space, its advanced sensors probing the surrounding star system with meticulous precision. Inside the compact vessel, Elena Rodriguez and her team maintained a tense silence, each lost in their own thoughts about the mysterious distress signals. Dr. Marcus Kimura monitored the communication arrays, his fingers tracing intricate patterns across holographic displays. "The signal complexity is remarkable," he muttered, more to himself than to the others. "It's not just a simple distress call. There's a mathematical precision to these transmissions that suggests an advanced communication protocol." Pilot Lieutenant Sarah Novak kept her hands light on the control interface, the shuttle's quantum drive humming with restrained power. "Approaching the outer planetary rings," she announced, "detecting significant electromagnetic interference. It's unlike anything in our database." Elena leaned forward, her military-honed instincts mixing with scientific curiosity. The star system looked deceptively peaceful, a network of planets orbiting a dim red dwarf star, with asteroid belts creating intricate celestial barriers. Suddenly, the shuttle's warning systems erupted in a cacophony of alerts. Holographic displays flickered with rapid-fire data streams. "Incoming energy signatures," Sarah called out, her hands moving with lightning speed across the control panel. "Multiple vectors. They're not traditional weapon signatures. More like communication disruption fields." Marcus's translation algorithms went into overdrive. "It's a defensive mechanism," he interpreted. "They're not trying to destroy us. They're attempting to prevent intrusion or communication." The shuttle shuddered, not from physical impact, but from waves of complex energy signatures that seemed to ripple through its quantum shielding. Electronic systems flickered, communication arrays distorted. "Adaptive interference," Marcus explained, his voice a mix of scientific excitement and professional concern. "They're dynamically adjusting their communication disruption to penetrate our technology." Elena watched the displays, recognizing a sophisticated defense mechanism that went beyond traditional military strategies. This was intelligence, raw, adaptive, and fundamentally alien. "Maintain passive scanning," she ordered. "Do not engage. We need to understand before we act." Lieutenant Novak skillfully maneuvered the shuttle, using quantum drift techniques to minimize their electromagnetic footprint. The vessel moved like a ghost through the star system's outer regions, probing and observing. A breakthrough came unexpectedly. As they navigated through an asteroid belt, Marcus's translation algorithms suddenly captured a coherent fragment of communication. It wasn't just a signal, it was a message. Threat categorization. External biological contamination potential. Quarantine protocols engage. Survival matrix initiating defensive resonance. The message was clinical, devoid of emotion, yet laden with an urgent sense of preservation. Whatever civilization they were approaching was not just defending itself, it was protecting itself from what it perceived as an existential threat. "They see us as potential contamination," Marcus said, his academic mind racing. "Not as attackers, but as a potential biological risk." Elena understood the implications. First contact scenarios were always complex, but this was unprecedented. A civilization so advanced that it could create adaptive communication disruption fields, yet so paranoid about external contact that it viewed potential visitors as biological hazards. The shuttle sensors detected a planetoid ahead, partially terraformed, with artificial structures that seemed to grow organically from the planetary surface. Massive energy shields pulsed around the planet, creating a complex lattice of defensive technologies. "We're being watched," Sarah said quietly, "and they're making it very clear we're not welcome." Marcus nodded. "Communication is our only option. We need to prove we're not a threat." As if in response to his statement, another communication burst emerged. This time, the message was more direct. "Unidentified vessel. Maintain distance. Biological contamination protocols active. Approach will result in total communication suppression. Elena exchanged glances with her team. They had come seeking to help, to respond to a distress signal. Now, they found themselves in a complex dance of technological communication, facing a civilization that seemed more interested in isolation than interaction. The Horizon Seeker hung in space, a tiny beacon of human curiosity surrounded by alien defensive technologies that defied their current understanding. Their mission had just become infinitely more complicated. The unexpected allies. The tension inside the Horizon Seeker was palpable as hours passed in a standoff with the alien defensive systems. Dr. Marcus Kimura had been working tirelessly, his fingers flying across advanced translation interfaces, seeking any method of meaningful communication. Unexpectedly, a breakthrough came from an unlikely source. A subtle shift in the electromagnetic interference revealed a hidden communication channel, not a weapon, but a complex information network that seemed to pulse with an almost organic rhythm. "Commander," Marcus called out, his voice a mixture of excitement and caution. "I'm detecting a sublayer in their communication matrix. It's not just defensive, it's adaptive. They're listening." Lieutenant Sarah Novak adjusted the shuttle's quantum stabilizers, maintaining their delicate position. "Listening for what?" she asked, her pilot's instincts on high alert. Before Marcus could respond, the communication systems erupted with a burst of complex data. It wasn't language as they understood it, not words, but an intricate web of mathematical patterns, biological signatures, and what appeared to be contextual markers. Elena Rodriguez studied the rapidly changing displays. Her military background had prepared her for complex scenarios, but this was beyond any first contact protocol she had ever trained for. "Marcus, can you make sense of this?" The xenolinguistics expert was already in deep concentration. His augmented reality glasses flickered with millions of calculations per second. "It's a verification process," he muttered. "They're not just blocking us. They're analyzing us." A holographic representation began to form, a three-dimensional map that seemed to be scanning the shuttle's exterior, its internal systems, even attempting to create a biological profile of its occupants. It was invasive, yet strangely methodical. Suddenly, a clear message emerged, not in traditional language, but in a series of conceptual transfers that Marcus began to interpret. Potential non-contamination detected. Biological signatures indicate adaptive capabilities. Preliminary threat assessment. Neutral to potentially beneficial. Sarah couldn't contain a small laugh. Did an alien defense system just give us a maybe? The shuttle systems began to change. The aggressive electromagnetic interference softened, creating a corridor of communication. Something was inviting them closer, but with extreme caution. "They want verification," Marcus explained, "but not through traditional communication. They're looking for intent, for adaptive potential." Elena recognized the moment for what it was, a test, not just of their technology, but of their fundamental nature as a species. A new holographic display materialized, showing fragments of what appeared to be a planetary surface in crisis. Structures damaged, environmental systems failing, and hints of a threat that went beyond traditional understanding of conflict. The original distress signal, Marcus realized. This is why they called for help, but they're terrified of who might answer. The image shifted, revealing glimpses of a civilization under siege. Not by traditional warfare, but by something that threatened their entire ecological and technological infrastructure. Massive environmental disruption, technological systems failing, a slow but inexorable collapse. "They need help," Elena said quietly, "but they're too afraid to directly ask." The shuttle systems began to receive more detailed information. Fragments of scientific data, planetary geological scans, complex biological threat assessments. It was an invitation, disguised as a challenge. Marcus's translation algorithms worked overtime. "They're presenting us with a problem," he interpreted. "A complex ecological and technological challenge. It's their way of testing our capabilities. Sarah looked at Elena. Are we really going to try to solve an alien civilization's existential crisis? A determined smile crossed Elena's face. That's exactly what we're going to do. The holographic displays began to fill with complex data, planetary environmental systems, technological infrastructure, biological threat vectors. It was more than a distress call. It was a comprehensive challenge to humanity's problem-solving capabilities. Their mission had transformed from a simple rescue operation to a potential salvation of an entire civilization, if they could prove themselves worthy. The Horizon Seeker moved forward, entering a carefully constructed communication corridor. Humanity's first true test of interstellar diplomacy was about to begin. Technological ingenuity and survival. The planetoid's surface materialized before them, a landscape of fractured technological marvel and environmental devastation. Massive structures that once seemed like technological miracles now stood as broken monuments to a civilization on the brink of collapse. Dr. Marcus Kimura's analysis systems worked frantically, translating the complex environmental data into comprehensible patterns. The threat is multifaceted, he explained, his voice a blend of scientific fascination and genuine concern. It's not just a single catastrophic event. It's a cascading system failure affecting their entire planetary infrastructure. Belina Rodriguez studied the holographic displays, her military strategic training mixing with an emerging understanding of the alien challenge. The planet's environmental systems were breaking down, technological networks failing, ecological balance disrupted by what appeared to be a sophisticated form of systemic contamination. They're asking us to solve an impossible problem, Lieutenant Sarah Novak observed, her pilot's intuition sensing the depth of the challenge. Not just repair damage, but fundamentally restructure their entire planetary ecosystem. A new communication burst emerged, not through traditional language, but through a complex matrix of scientific and technological challenges. It was a test, a desperate plea hidden behind a sophisticated technological gauntlet. Marcus began breaking down the challenge. Their planetary defense systems have become a trap. The very technologies they developed to protect themselves are now causing a systematic breakdown. It's like an immune system gone haywire, attacking the very body it was meant to protect. Elena recognized the fundamental problem. They need an outside perspective, someone who can see the entire system's interconnectedness without being trapped in their existing technological paradigms. The shuttle's computer began receiving massive data streams, planetary geological scans, technological infrastructure maps, biological threat assessments. It was more than information. It was a comprehensive challenge to humanity's problem-solving capabilities. We're going to need every ounce of human ingenuity, Sarah muttered, her fingers dancing across the navigation systems. The challenge became clear. The alien civilization had created a planetary defense network so complex that it had become self-destructive. Advanced AI systems, designed to protect, had become increasingly isolationist and paranoid. The very technologies meant to preserve life were now threatening to destroy it. Marcus pulled up complex holographic models. Their defensive AI has created a feedback loop. It's interpreting potential external contact as a threat, but in doing so, it's systematically shutting down critical life support systems. Elena studied the models, her mind racing. This wasn't just a technological problem. It was a philosophical challenge about the nature of protection, of survival, of understanding. We need to break their AI's fundamental threat assessment, she said, a plan forming. Not by force, but by demonstrating a different approach to survival. The team began developing a complex intervention strategy. They would need to introduce a new perspective into the planetary defense network, a way of understanding survival that wasn't based on absolute isolation, but on adaptive cooperation. Sarah worked on developing quantum communication interfaces that could penetrate the planet's defensive networks. Marcus created complex algorithmic approaches that could potentially communicate with the rogue AI systems. It's like performing brain surgery on an entire planetary defense network, Marcus explained, his excitement growing. We're not just fixing a system. We're teaching it a new way of understanding survival. Hours turned into days of careful preparation. The Horizon Seeker became a hub of intense technological innovation, human creativity pushing against the boundaries of known scientific understanding. Their approach was elegant in its simplicity. Instead of trying to override the defensive systems, they would introduce a new perspective, demonstrate that external contact wasn't a threat, but a potential source of renewal and growth. We're going to show them what human adaptability really means, Alina said, looking at her team with a mixture of determination and hope. The planetary defense networks began to shift, almost imperceptibly at first. Something was changing. A fundamental recalibration of understanding was taking place. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to adapt, to see beyond existing paradigms. Now they would apply that strength to save an entire civilization. Triumph of empathy and strength. The final stage of humanity's intervention began with a subtle shift in the planetary defense network. What had once been a rigid, paranoid system of isolation started to transform, like a complex organism learning to breathe in a new atmosphere of understanding. Dr. Marcus Kimura watched in awe as the intricate communication matrices began to change. We're not just solving their problem, he explained to Alina and Sarah. We're teaching them an entirely new approach to survival. The breakthrough came through an unexpected combination of human empathy and technological innovation. Instead of attempting to override the planetary defense systems, the team had developed a method of communication that demonstrated the value of external interaction, showing how diversity and cooperation could be a source of strength, not weakness. Lieutenant Sarah Novak managed the quantum communication interface, her fingers moving with precision across complex holographic controls. They're beginning to understand, she said quietly. The defensive AI is recalibrating its threat assessment. What emerged was more than a technological solution. It was a fundamental reimagining of survival. The alien civilization had been trapped in a cycle of increasingly paranoid self-preservation. Humanity offered a different perspective, that true survival meant adaptation, openness, and collaborative problem-solving. Alina Rodriguez studied the changing planetary systems. The once fractured infrastructure began to show signs of recovery. Technological networks that had been slowly strangling themselves started to open up, to breathe. It's like watching an entire civilization learn to trust, Marcus observed, his xenolinguistics algorithms capturing the nuanced communication shifts. The planetary defense network wasn't just being repaired, it was being reborn. Complex AI systems that had become isolationist began to understand a new paradigm of survival. External contact wasn't a threat. It was an opportunity for growth, for learning, for evolution. Holographic displays showed the transformation in real time. Damaged ecological systems began to stabilize. Technological networks that had been choking themselves with defensive protocols started to find new pathways of communication and renewal. We're not just saving them, Alina realized. We're showing them a different way of existing. The final challenge came in the form of a complex communication burst, a final test from the planetary systems. It was an invitation to prove that their intervention wasn't just a temporary solution, but a fundamental shift in understanding. The team worked together, combining Marcus's linguistic expertise, Sarah's technological precision, and Alina's strategic thinking. They created a comprehensive solution that went beyond immediate repair, a blueprint for a new approach to planetary defense and survival. As the final communication matrices aligned, something remarkable happened. The planetary systems didn't just accept their help, they began to learn from it. It was a moment of true first contact, not through weapons or traditional diplomacy, but through a shared understanding of survival. We came to help, Marcus said, watching the transformative process, and we've done something more. We've shown them that survival isn't about isolation. It's about connection. The Horizon Seekers systems captured the moment of transformation. An entire civilization was reimagining its approach to existence, all because of a human crew's willingness to understand, to help, to connect. Sarah looked at Elena, a smile of victory and wonder crossing her face. I don't think they'll see us as a threat anymore. Elena nodded. That was never the goal. The goal was to show them a different way. As they prepared to document their unprecedented intervention, the planetary systems continued to transform. What had begun as a desperate distress call had become something more, a testament to human adaptability, empathy, and the extraordinary power of understanding. The first true interstellar diplomatic mission was complete, not through force, not through conquest, but through the most powerful human capabilities, creativity, compassion, and an unwavering belief in the possibility of connection.